Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Deese, and today we are joined with Bo Rogers from Residio and Honeywell, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I asked Bo to come on today because there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Residio has a really cool conference coming up called Connect 2025. We'll get into that. But even before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about Bo's story because he's got a pretty unique story on how he even got in the industry, and I think it's kind of fascinating. So, Bo, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm super excited about being on. So thanks for taking some time and inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get down and dirty. Let's talk about how you even ended up in the HVAC space.
Well, I'm going to say it was almost predestined. I share the story all the time. My family's been and specifically my dad got in the HVAC business, as a heating man in the late 50s, working for a company called Holland Furnace Company. And he used to sell octopus furnaces. For those that are listening and who are back east, know what an octopus furnace is, a gravity-fed furnace that would be in the middle of a basement and with big ductwork that would come off and heat would rise out of it. It'd get so hot, heat would rise out of it. And my pop started with that company, and in fact, they built a blower kit that would basically be installed next to that furnace to actually drive the air into the space as opposed to using just straight gravity. And he was tasked with selling those as a younger man. And so it was kind of interesting and kind of fun, but that's how he got started in the business and ultimately moved his way through the business and started his own company. And I turned out to be ultimately I become a lead installer at 15 years old. I think I shared this story with you. I'm like this pimple-faced kid rolling up to a house, and I had this older gentleman who would drive me because, of course I was too young to have a driver's license, but I'm showing up at people's houses going, "Hi, I'm Bo, and I'm here to install your furnace." Right? So I've been, as I tell everybody, I've been in the business doing it since I could carry a toolbox, right? And, I always wondered, what would life be like not being in the, in heating and air conditioning space, right? Not being, in this comfort business that we're in. And ultimately, I don't know, right? Because I never tried anything else. Well, that's not fair. I thought I would like to be a cook one time. So I was working for an AC company or a heating company in Wisconsin. And I said to the guy, "I'm quitting and I'm going to go be a cook and a chef." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he gave me $1 an hour raise, so I stayed, And so that was the closest I got to getting out of the business. And so with that said, I've never done anything other than heating and air conditioning my entire adult life. And legitimately, I am so proud of the work we do and the impact that we have in people's lives every day. I get kind of fired up and I get passionate about what we do because we truly make a difference. And, and I've been able to build a good life for myself and for my family, and it's a great place to be, legitimately a great place to be. Something that AI can't and won't be able to take from us, right? The ability to fix an air conditioner or a furnace or put a ladder across, along a roof line to climb up on top or something like that. So our runway is infinite, right? The opportunities we have are infinite as well. So,
well, and even if they figure out how to replace the critical thinking and the hands-on, it'll be past our generation. So, which
for
at that
sure.
point just creates other things. So,
Yeah, for sure.
no,
Maybe,
that's pretty awesome.
yeah, maybe there'd be some robots that might make their way out, right? Like right now, I think they got some pizza delivery robots that can kind of get a pizza to your door. But until that thing can get downstairs in somebody's basement or up on somebody's roof or in their attic, we're safe probably for at least 50 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. So, okay, so you were in Wisconsin.
Yep, from
You
Wisconsin.
were heating and air.
Heating and air.
And then what happened? I think you made the trek across the country, didn't you?
Yeah, so my wife and I had just gotten married. We just celebrated 28 years marriage, together 30, which, goodness gracious, I can't tell you how appreciative I am that she chose me and still continues every day to choose to build a life with me, right? But we had
Congrats.
just gotten married, and I was growing my business in Wisconsin. And one of my distributor partners came to me and they said, "Hey, Bo, we think we think you would get value out of the sales training class that's going to be down in Tempe, Arizona." And I'm like, okay. Now, I would challenge most people who do sales every day, and even some sales techs and salespeople. Are you really a salesperson, or do you mostly take orders? And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. There's no shade here, right? It's just, I thought I knew how to sell, and what I realized was I didn't have a process. But it took me having to go to Tempe, Arizona, to the Tempe Mission Palms in downtown Tempe, leaving Milwaukee on a cold and kind of dreary and early March day, and show up in Phoenix, Arizona in early March. And if you've ever been here, it's pretty spectacular.
Hey, wait! I want to give them a spoiler alert. Where do you live now?
So I live in the greater Phoenix area. I live in Mesa, Arizona, right? And so this is really
Sorry, I
important.
just wanted to paint that picture of you left Wisconsin, gray and dreary, showed up in Arizona, and you're like, "Yep."
Oh, legitimately. So make sure you get me back on course, because this can happen.
Okay.
But my wife and I, we landed at Phoenix Sky Harbor, walked out the door, and I'm like, wow, this is the place for me. We took, back in the day, there was no Uber, so we took a cab over to the hotel, and we're kind of walking around downtown Tempe. And for those that don't know, that's where Arizona State University is at. And we show up at this really great resort called the Tempe Mission Palms. And, the first night we're there, we're sitting out on the upper level where they have the hot tub and stuff, and they're bringing us drinks. And I said to my wife, "Man, it would be pretty great to live here." Fast forward about 9 months later, and we made the decision to move. But before I can do that, though, before I can do that, I was stuck inside for 5 days, taking a sales training class by Steve Howard in boot camp, learning a real sales process, and that was really eye opening for me. And that once you learn. That's when you become successful, when you actually learn a system. Okay. And again, I don't spend a lot of time on that. I always thought I could sell, but once I ultimately learned a system, then I realized I got lucky more often than not. And when I didn't make sales, it wasn't because they didn't like my offer or my price or anything else. It was something else. And it takes you some time to work through that, and quite frankly, to learn that. And so,
so you went back. So
so I went back to Wisconsin.
You got the knowledge bombs. You went back to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Started selling like crazy.
It was almost immediate, right? Because of course, I saw something literally just before this podcast pop up in my feed, and the person who had made the post had talked about how, whether you take training someplace or you go to an event or whatever the case may be, most people don't do the most critical thing afterwards, which is implement.
Mm-hmm.
They go and get the knowledge, and they'll like, oh, that was pretty cool, but they don't go and implement it in their business. Well, I made it a point to implement it in my business as soon as I got back. Now, I had a small little air conditioning company at the time. I had 5 people working for me. We were growing, but as anybody that's started an air conditioning company, heating air conditioning company from scratch, understands, the challenges there. And I know you've had discussions on that, and your book really, really highlighted that, right? And sometimes just because you bring in more revenue doesn't mean everything is actually doing better. But anyways, I implemented what Steve Howard and the boot camp taught me, and my sales increased dramatically. And then I also raised my price too, because I thought, maybe I can make a little bit more money. I did that after I started selling more, because now all of a sudden I had more jobs and I didn't have enough people to do the jobs. So, but yeah, I implemented it, and things were going well, but you still have, in fairness, right? You still have challenges, right? And my wife and I, as I think I mentioned it earlier, we were young, right? I don't know, at the time I was probably 26 or 7, probably 27. My wife was 28 or so. And we thought, man, if we're ever going to do something, we got to do it now, before kids and everything else. And, we made the leap. We made the leap, and we left Wisconsin and moved to Arizona. And
I want to highlight something you talked about earlier, because I know a lot of times people will say, what's the silver bullet? What's the magic pill? And you said it, it's implementing. It's wonderful to learn so many things, but man, if you don't implement it, it doesn't do you any good. So, So you moved from there. I assume you sold your business.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sold your business. And did you start a new one in Arizona?
No, you know what? I'll tell you, legitimately, so anyway, the answer is no. I didn't start one in Arizona. I actually decided I wanted to go to work for somebody for a little bit. I had been on my own in some form or fashion since like I was 20. Whether it was doing subcontracting work for some other heating and air conditioning folks around town and in Chicago. I was on my own, always running around, and I thought, you know what? It would be nice maybe to get just like a paycheck, right? Sometimes just get a paycheck. Maybe I, what do they call these things, like retirement, 401k kind of things, right? Maybe that would be pretty good. Let me give that a try for a little bit. So again, I'm like 27. I think 27 is when we moved from when we moved from Wisconsin to Arizona. I think I was 27 or turning 28. So at that point, 8 or 9 years of, hustling, right? Like, again, I'm going to go back to your book, right? You talk about hustling since that time when you had that, you get home and your wife finds out, Kristen finds out that, they dehired you, right? The company you were working for.
They politely asked me to go somewhere else.
Exactly. So I thought, no, I'm going to work for somebody. And I had met a couple of guys, and I'd gotten a couple of different job offers in Arizona, and my wife and I were like, well, if we're going to do it, we got to do it now. Because other than having a business that was growing, I had a plan. I had a goal. I wanted to do $1 million by 1999. And I finished, by the time I sold my business late 98. And now $1 million doesn't, hell, in fairness, my last year selling air conditioners before I got this job, I did 3.2 million, right? So, but at $1,500 furnace changeouts, it takes a long time to get to $1 million. I
was going to say minimum wage at that point was like $4.15.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
for the younger generation to understand $1 million was a big number back in the day.
Yeah. And so so my first year in business, whether it was doing the subcontractor work and the other stuff I did, I think I'd done like 60 grand, right? And so I didn't hit the number. I'm not going to brag. I didn't hit the number. I didn't get to the million, but I got to like 928,000. So I was pretty dang close. And so, but nonetheless, I decided I'm going to move, and we moved, and we've been out here since. 3 kids, mortgage, car payments, all that kind of stuff. And but I went to work for a company out here called Air Conditioning by Jay. Really good company, really great company. Worked for them for a couple of years, and then quite frankly, I went to work for a number of AC companies here in the Phoenix area. And you quickly learn some are good, some weren't good. And I got approached by one of my to ultimately interview for this job at what was Honeywell, and the job that I ultimately got hired at in 2010. So I've been with the company now since 2010, Honeywell, and for those that are listening to the podcast or maybe you don't know, my shirt here says Honeywell Home. You might be able to see it. I don't know if it's backwards or not. We got spun out of Honeywell in 2018 into a separately publicly traded company called Residio. But this fall, actually, I guess 2 months or so, it'll be 15 years I've been with the company. It's the longest I've ever been anywhere. And my wife knows for sure I got ADHD, right? I'll get to working on a project. My wife knows she cannot bother me in the middle of the project. Otherwise I'll put it down and not get back to it. Because my brain will go on to something else. But for 15 years, I've been working for this company because it's such a great place to work. I feel like we make really great products that our customers can trust, because their customers are relying on it. And, and I love the work I do, the people I work with, and then ultimately people like you that I get to work with out in the field every day.
So what does your role look like today with Residio?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So let me just go back to where I first started with the company. When I first got started with the company, my role was what we call a residential distributor rep, where it was my job to go see our local distribution partners to make sure that those distribution partners had product on the shelf that when you had your business paradise and so forth, could come in and get it, install it, and take care of your homeowners. And we actually had two roles locally. In the second role in the market is what we called a CDS, or contractor development specialist, whose job was to go see AC contractors and talk to them about the products that Honeywell had and how they can solve homeowners' issues and concerns, right, to allow you to be able to take care of that for the homeowner. And ultimately, it was a push-pull relationship, right? My job initially was to push the product on the shelf, and then the CDS role was designed to help pull it off the shelf. My boss came to me maybe 2 years into the role, and he said, "Bo, you're doing great, but you're really a contractor, and I need you in front of contractors talking about our solutions and help them help their customers." And so I moved into that role, and I had that role all the way up until 2020, when I got moved into a national role where I now get to work and that was in the local Arizona area. I also had Las Vegas and some in New Mexico for a while, particularly Albuquerque and Santa Fe area. And then in 2020, I took a different role, essentially the same job, where I get to work with contractors nationally with three of the best practice groups out there that you probably speak to them or speak about them often. Service Nation, Certain Path, and Nexstar. Those three groups, I get to work with contractors throughout the country. And then last year, I guess maybe 18 months ago or so, I was given one more task to do, which was to build out our own version, or lack of a better word, our own version of a best practice group, what we call our Premier Pro partners. On our security side of the business, we've been doing it since '91, and our management team is like, we've got a lot of great contractors that we work with, and we want to provide them with some extra care and recruit people into that program, what we call our Premier Pro Partner program. So that's the other, I guess, fourth job I do with the company, besides all a bunch of little stuff. So I am busy all the time. Sometimes I'm in front of this computer more than I would like to be, because my favorite thing I like to do is go out, meet with you guys in the field, help you solve problems for your customers, right? And make their lives better. That's what I love doing the most.
Well, and probably your fifth job is you travel a lot. So that's
yeah, I travel a lot. Yeah.
So if any of you end up at any of the shows this year, next year, whenever, there's probably a good chance that Bo's going to be at a show that you will be at. So speaking of show,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about Connect. I will tell you, honestly, last year was the first year I had ever been to Connect. Fantastic show, amazing speakers, and so I'm really pumped. Last year when I went, I didn't really know. I thought, okay, we'll check it out. It's cool.
Yeah.
And this year I'm really excited about it. So tell us a little bit about Connect.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned it just a little while ago. On the security side of our business, we've had a premier partner program for well over 35 years. And in 2019, our management's like, hey, maybe we should invite some comfort contractors to this event. It happened to be here in Arizona, and I was tasked with, in 2019, I was still a local guy, and I was tasked with recruiting getting some AC contractors to come to our event. And, there's a lot, and we were just talking about, you're going to be in Pantheon soon, and there's a lot of these events that happen out there, and what makes ours different or better. We can dig into that a little bit in a minute. There's so much valuable information in all of them, right? It does come back to that one very simple thing. When you learn something, implement it.
Yep.
But so I was tasked with, getting some contractors into the space, where it was at the JW Marriott. You probably recognized last year when you went, we tend to go to really great locations and really great venues. And almost
amazing
always,
hotel.
Yeah. It's almost always a JW Marriott of some sort. We'll do some Hiltons every now and again, but our management leans towards Marriotts and high-end Marriott properties. But anyway, we're at the JW Desert Ridge up on the north side of Phoenix, an amazing property. And the first year, in fairness, there really wasn't much for an HVAC contractor. We had no breakout sessions. We had nothing. We said, come and show up and, have an opportunity to network with some security contractors, or we call them dealers. And interestingly enough, they have a lot of the same issues that we have. Right? Yeah. They've got, they've got labor issues, right? Finding skilled labor, right? Finding leads and finding technicians, right? And then driving loyalty with them. The same issues that we have, they have as well. And so you have an excellent opportunity to really network and meet people who might not be in the same industry, but share a lot of the same challenges, right? So whether it be marketing for new customers or whatever the case may be. And so 2019 was the first year we invited comfort contractors. 2020, quite frankly, everybody knows what happened then. Everything was canceled in 2020. 2021, we had our Connect event again, and actually we had to push it off. It was we ended up having it out at Palm Springs. And we usually flip-flop coast, just so you know. We'll do East Coast, West Coast, some sort of East Coast, West Coast, just about all these other events do. And then in 2022 was the first year that we really made a concerted effort to make sure that we had breakout sessions specifically for our HVAC comfort partners. And that was really, that was like one of the defining, or at least the sentiment moments in what we're doing here. Then 23 got better. 24 was your first year. Mm-hmm. And from 2023 to 24, what we learned from all the attendees was, hey, that was pretty cool having these comfort guys over here, right? But I don't know if I want them in our general session. So now you move to 24 and now 25. We'll get that in just a minute. We've got separate breakout sessions, an agenda specifically for it. And we have a separate general session just for the HVAC people. And then, of course, we will have keynote speaker and stuff that everybody will be at. And then legitimately, we have excellent parties. Like I don't know, you shouldn't come just for the party, but you can come for the
whatever
party.
It takes to get you there.
Yeah, whatever it takes, right? You can come for the party. The trip is worth the party, right? And invariably, it's always a themed party. And a couple of years ago in Scottsdale, it was like Grease night, right? So dress up like your Grease characters or something like that. And you had people showing up in, like, was it the Thunderbirds or what were they called in Grease, right? The gang.
Yeah.
right? So something like
I
that.
don't remember what they were called.
Yeah, and
but
then
yeah.
last year it was your first rock concert you ever went to, right? And so lots of cool stuff. And we keep learning from from the attendees what they like, what they would like to see, and I think you hit on it right. It's a really great event, and there's a lot of great information. Whether it be interacting with some security guys that you thought you might not have anything in common with, or certainly working with and meeting with and interacting and networking with other HVAC professionals. Right. Again, sharing best practices, finding common ground, right? Commiserating or quite frankly, sharing wins and boasting and bragging too, right? All that happens. So
I tell you what I thought was really cool. A couple things last year that really stood out to me that I liked. One, you guys had a keynote, Clay Scroggins, and I'd never heard of him before. Ironically, I just read his book, not knowing he was going to be there. Read his book.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was amazing. Obviously, Matt Michelle was one of the keynote speakers. He did amazing. I don't remember their name, but you guys had this band.
Oh yeah,
that played the piano and sang, and it was like the Seven Zacks, or I don't know, something like that. Those guys were awesome. But what I really liked was the way you guys had the showroom floor set up, and walking back there and learning about all these new things you guys were working on. And it was cool because I came back and I had like 3 from the team. I was like, we got to have this and this.
Yeah.
And it was great because, most of us, especially anybody who has this kind of technical mindset, we're very kinetic, like we have to touch and feel and see the thing. So like the training board was rad, man, to watch how that thing worked. And then there was a dehumidifier that was perfect for Florida.
Yep.
So yeah, that was some highlights for me. Not to mention, JW Marriott, they do it up right.
It's a nice place. Yeah. So we call that the innovation showcase, and that's always our first night. We show up the first night. We'll have our sponsors. We usually, like you said, we ring it around the outside. All of our sponsors will be out there, an opportunity to learn from them or to get some more information about what they do. And then, of course, we will have our section where we show off all of our cool stuff. This year, I think I could say the name out loud, but we're calling it Elite Pro, powered by Pro IQ. That's launching imminently. The Dehum that you alluded to, that's launching at Connect. In fact, distributors will have it in their stock by the time Connect happens. It'll be in their inventory, just like Elite Pro will be in their inventory, and you'll be able to see our pretty much how we've been building out our ecosystem. And I think we've talked about this a lot, right? The connected home or the smart home. There's a lot of chatter around that, and there's a lot of people who are in that space. We're in that space, and I think we're uniquely positioned because we're the largest manufacturer of security products in the world. Most people don't know that, but Residio is, in fact, it used to be Honeywell, but when they spun us off, it came with us, right? And so we have the ability to obviously protect people's homes with our security products, and they all work together. And we also have some, we're also bringing a one app experience to a homeowner, right? Right now, whether they have a security system or not, or if they have smart lights or not, or a front door or Alexa or all these things, a homeowner has to go to multiple different places to access the smart products in their home. Well, we're bringing that all to one app, what we call our First Alert app. And in that, you'll be able to control your comfort from one location. You'll be able to unlock and lock your front door. You'll be able to access camera and the doorbell directly from that same app. And then we have some integration with, so again, I was talking about locking, unlocking door. That's integration with both Schlage and Yale. And then Genie garage door openers. You'll be able to open and close your garage door from there. And we've got some more stuff that we're working on. So now instead of having these disparate apps everywhere that you have to go to, you can actually just go to one place and access it all.
I have that, and I am your perfect customer.
Yeah.
because I have that and it drives me crazy. And I'm like, how do I, even our door to our house, I just asked my wife the other day, I was like, I don't know how to operate it. Like I don't have an app for it. So no, that's pretty cool. You have to get me set up on all that, man.
Yeah, we'll take care of you. You know we will.
Nice. So for anybody who wants to join the Connect 2025 event, how would they get more information about it?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, URL. You and I were just speaking about that before we started. The URL to go sign up is pretty long, but I'll get you a link that you can post, and but it's pretty straightforward. In fact, I would say if you were to do a Google search for Connect 2025 LA, it will probably pop up. But I've got a one pager I could send to you that you can post as well.
Perfect.
But you click through, you sign up. About the only thing we ask from you, quite frankly, is, or the only thing we need from you, quite frankly, is to show up. Because once you show up, we'll take care of you from there, right? We'll provide all your meals. It's not uncommon that even after the event, the evening event is over, then you end up in the bar afterwards. That people are like, hey, I'm kind of hungry, and I'm like, oh, are you? Maybe we'll go get pizzas, and some guy will walk back with 3 pizzas, in downtown Tampa with 3 pizzas to feed the bar afterwards, right? But I promise you, we'll take good care of you when you get there. There'll be a lot of great information from our innovation showcase to our breakout sessions that we're having, to the ability to, quite frankly, most of our executive team will be there. The president of the company will be there, along with our vice president of sales. There'll be product marketing people there. There'll be a lot of people that you'll have an opportunity from our company to interact with, and give us everything. We want it all, right? We want it unvarnished. We want the platitudes, and we want the things that we could work on, right? We want it all, because I mentioned earlier, I've been with the company 15 years, the longest I've been anywhere in my entire life, right? And you don't stick around this long if you're not working for a really great place. And we care about our customers, right? Which is you guys, right? Because we care about the end consumer. We want their experience to be the absolute best. So we want it all, right? Not saying we can give you everything, but a lot of times when you bring something to us that you think you need, right? If we can work it in and it makes sense, we will. Well, I mean,
the bottom line is you can't fix a problem if you don't know it exists.
100%, right? Like we can think we're the greatest ever, but if we're in an echo chamber, nobody shares us any different, we won't know, right?
Fantastic. What's remind us of the dates?
Yeah, so it's October 22nd through the 25th, and it's going to be in LA at LA Live at the JW Marriott at LA Live, and you can either fly into LAX, or I think you can also come into John Wayne Airport as well. They're about equal distance to get to LA Live. You come in, spend a few days. Maybe after that, if you want to go see Disneyland, for those that's never been, it's not far from there. You can make a trip out of it just besides this. I think I'm just gonna say it. I love California. Now, I love living in Arizona for a lot of different reasons, but man, if you haven't seen the beaches or anything else, you stay a couple days. You either come a couple days early or stay a couple days after. There's so many great places to go see and to go do in the greater LA area. Heck, just going and seeing like Hollywood in the Walk of Fame. They do call it Hollyweird,
that is
right?
Pretty cool.
You go see the Walk of Fame, right? That's a lot of fun to go do, and it's free. You can go see the big Hollywood sign. In fact, you can get behind it. You can't get down to the sign, but you can get behind it, and you can look out over LA. There's a lot of really great things to do in LA for a couple of days, and it's well worth the trip.
And for anybody who's looking for Bo and I for a couple days before, we'll probably be hanging out on Muscle Beach.
Oh, 100%. Showing you which way it is, right? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, check out Venice Beach. If you haven't been there, check it out. Go to Santa Monica Pier. That's a lot of fun and
Santa
cool
Monica
to do.
Pier's, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So let everybody know, what is the cost to attend this event?
Actually, there is no cost other than your time.
But only for listeners of the Freedom Blueprint podcast.
That's right.
It's free. That's your promo code.
That's a promo code. That's exactly right. Yeah, so it goes back to what I was mentioning earlier. I know there's some other events where they charge for it. We pay the bill. Other than you get there, your hotel and your airfare, right? We'll take care of you when you get there. And then I would just say that, and then of course our partners and our sponsors, they help offset the cost. It's not inexpensive to do, but we do it because naturally we want to show you all the cool stuff that we're working on. But more importantly, we want to build a community. It truly, truly, truly is about the community. I mentioned it earlier. One of my jobs, and quite frankly, that's been my major focus this year, has been building out our Premier Pro Partner Network on the comfort side. And I will tell you, it's not about how much revenue you do a year with us. Well, we want it, right? We don't do this as a charity.
Right.
It's about community, right? Giving people a place to go where they can lean on others so you don't have to do anything on your own. And that's what Connect is all about. Connect is all about community.
Fantastic. And all this information is going to be in the show notes. But again, a reminder, October 22nd through the 25th, Connect 2025, Los Angeles, California, at the JW Marriott. And for anybody listening to this podcast, it's free. You just have to tell them where you heard about it from.
That's right. Tell them you heard podcast.
Come out, come hang out. Bo and I will be there. Kristen will be there as well.
Yep, we'll be there.
So yeah, we're going to be hanging out. But Bo, I appreciate you coming and hanging out.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks, man.
Yes, you will. Looking forward to it, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.